Okay, and we're back again. So this time we're going to look at the number one revision hack, and that is spaced practice. Now, we've all heard about cramming. We've all done it before, all right? But spaced practice is the most underrated revision hack. So when we have a look at the spacing effect, what we're talking here is doing spaced repetition of your revision rather than cramming the night before the exam. So this sort of busy graphic gives you an idea of the difference. Now, there is a much better effect. There's two really big benefits to spaced repetition. One, it's going to reduce your stress levels. If you are trying to cram and revise everything you possibly can 1 or 2 days, or let's face it, the night before the exam, yeah, some of that knowledge is going to go into your head, but not as much as spaced revision. And again, the fallout afterwards, you're not going to remember it 3 days, 4 days, 5 days afterwards. So it's not good quality learning. However, if you do spaced repetition, where you're doing a little bit, half an hour on one day, a couple of days later, looking at something else and repeating it and coming back and just spacing out that revision, you can actually do less revision time, but over that longer period, and it will have a much better effect. You will do better in your exam, you will feel more confident and calm going into the exam, and you will remember that learning for longer. So you're spreading out your revision over time rather than trying to cram it all in the night before. And what you're doing here by doing this spaced revision is you're making your brain work harder, because when you leave a gap between learning something and then reviewing it, it is working harder. It means you're exercising your brain, and going back to that analogy of your brain being like a muscle, the more and harder you work your brain, that effort will strengthen your memory of that knowledge that's going in there. So spaced revision is how you beat the forgetting curve, because when you learn something in class, it doesn't stay in your brain. The more you revisit it, the more you're bringing it back into what's known as your working memory, and you strengthen that memory. If you don't revisit that memory, you will forget it. So that's one of the reasons why revision is so important, but also when and how you revise. So making sure that you are spacing out that revision and doing little and often and just spacing it out over time. One really big advantage if you start revising now is you have got so much time before your exams in the summer. And I'm talking summer 26 here. We have a lot of time before summer rather than trying to cram it all in the night before and having that additional stress. So with the spacing effect, spaced practice equals a stronger memory.